Good morning. Hi there, welcome, 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 welcome. It is a packed room this morning. My name is Raquel Rose. I am one of the assistant superintendents here at the county office, and I thank you all for being here today to engage in some active conversations related to equity, quite frankly, right? And what are we doing Cradle to Career across our county? Getting to really talk about not just what does the data say, but what actions are in play. Maybe some of you or many of you got to participate in a talk last week with our new State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tony Thurman. He was quite inspirational and really just touched on this topic in a way that really made, I think, the crowd think about how we need to be doing things differently. I will say Tony's talk was inspirational for me, but even more so hearing the voice of the students and hearing them speak about what their experiences were or have been in the school system in terms of those really small but really big microaggressions that happen on a day-to-day basis that impact their ability to really be themselves within their school setting. And we know that the way for kids to really open up to learning is to be able to be in an environment where they feel comfortable, they are able to be who they are, and that we meet them where they are. So hopefully in today's opportunity of engagement, we'll be able to dig in, recognize that now's the time, because if not now, then when, for us to begin really moving the needle related to equity across our county, because if we don't do it, who's going to do it, right? So with that being said, welcome here to the office today. Thank you to Marin Promise for hosting this event. And next, I'm going to hand it over to Dr. David Wain Coon from the College of Marin.
Let's give Marin County Office of Education a big round of applause for hosting us this morning. Good morning and welcome. It's such a pleasure. It's actually exhilarating seeing this many people in the room today. So the challenge is this. Since there's so many people, and I know there's a lot of people each of us don't know, so I challenge you to meet 2 new people today before you leave. So as Raquel said, I'm David Wain Coon, and depending on the day, just like all of you, multiple roles, right? Some days it's 2, some days it's 1, some days it's 3 and 4. But today I am here in my role as the president of the College of Marin and as my role as the chair of the Marin Promise Partnership Executive Committee. So we welcome you. College of Marin has been part of the partnership since the very beginning. And first and foremost, that is because we are committed to equity. And secondarily, we are obviously committed to closing the equity opportunity gaps that exist. But we recognize, as great as we all are, and there's some folks down here from College of Marin and over here, we can't do that alone. We need to partner with each of you and each of your organizations to make that happen, right? We all need each other in this process. And at the same time, we need the support and the guidance and the leadership and the strength of our backbone team. Let's give our backbone team a round of applause. So this summit is the first of its kind for the partnership. After working together for the past 7 years, we have truly evolved into a collection of more than 10 different collaborative teams, from the Leadership Council and the action teams to various cross-milestone initiatives. So as I look around this room, there's so much talent in this room, and I recognize each of your expertise, and we all bring our own bag of tricks, right? But I want to invite you to do this. So I'm going to invite you to take both of your hands and place them on the shoulder of somebody, a different shoulder of somebody around you, okay? Okay, you may have to scooch closer. Now I want to take it one step further, and to the degree we can in these tight confounds, make sure that one of those hands reaches across to another table. Okay? Okay. So if you can hold it for just a moment, I see a community partner with their hand on a funder, right? I see a college partner with the hand on a community member. I see, let's see, back in the back, one of the executive committee members with one of our funders, and so on and so on and so on. So give yourselves a big round of applause. You have just helped me demonstrate what today is all about, right? So when you have connectivity, connections lead to conversations, right? And conversations hopefully lead to collaborations and partnerships. And partnerships hopefully lead to alignment, and hopefully alignment leads to what? Collective impact, which is what we're all about here today, right? So congratulations for that. So I have a disclaimer on this next part. This is not something that Strive Together put forward or even the Marin Promise Partnership endorses, but this is the world according to DWC, okay? So work with me on that, okay? So as I consider the traditional experience of most students, right? It's a pathway, it's a journey, but it's an experience with a series of doors, right? They start off on the pathway. Wherever you're at on that pathway, you throw that door open. Hopefully you'll embrace them, you love on them, you work your magic, and when it's right time, they move out and on, right? Then they move up to the next door, the door gets open, we welcome them, hopefully we love on them, we work our magic, and then when the right time happens, they what? They move out and on, right? I would say that the difference in this work is having a pathway, a journey that is without doors. The doors are wide open. At the very least, the windows are open so we can see in, right? So wherever I'm at on that journey, I could look both ways, and I can see what the student is experiencing, how they're succeeding, what their challenges are, and hopefully how myself and my team can help support the efforts to support those students wherever they're at on that journey, right? And at the same time, this is a collective conversation about support of each other. So hopefully wherever you're at along that continuum, you feel the support of all of us, regardless of where we're at. You feel that that hand is on your shoulder, supporting you in your efforts. So that's what this work is about today. So given this is the first time that we're having a collaborative convening of this nature, I want to find out who's in the room. So we're going to do that. I'm going to give you the opportunity to stretch a little bit and stand up. And as I describe what category you might fall into if you'd stand up, right? So if you work at a school, please stand up. Work with a school. Okay, let's show some love for those folks. Okay. What? Or school district. That's a given. A school or school district. Okay, we'll show extra love to the district. If you're a nonprofit, if you represent a nonprofit program or work in a nonprofit program, okay, let's show some love for those folks. Wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's great. If you're a member of a community parent or student advocacy group, stand up. Oh, come on, you're all a part of that. Stand up, all of you stand up. Okay. That was a trick question. If you happen to be a government program like a library or county agency, there we go, wow. See, it takes schools, nonprofit, local government, it's all connected. Okay, we'll do the speed round now, and we'll hold the applause to the end. So if you're a member of the executive committee, stand up. Executive committee? Okay, thank you. If you're members of the Leadership Council. Oh, thank you, yeah. I'm going off for notes here, okay? And if you're a part of an action team, show some action, stand up. Okay, cool. This is great, this is across the spectrum here. If you are somehow related to kindergarten readiness, okay, they're all together in the back over there. Okay, kindergarten readiness. Early grade literacy. So if literacy is your thing, Bob, you're just gonna keep standing up there, that's good. Middle school math. Okay, math teachers. Okay, that's great. Math teachers and supporters, that's great. If you are on the College and Career Readiness Action Team, okay, well represented here today. If you are part of the College and Career Enrollment Team, okay, great, thank you. And if you're part of the College and Career Completion Team, okay, excellent. So we'll let you rest now. Just if you raise your hands if you're from West Marin. If you're representing West Marin, okay. We know these folks had to get up the earliest to get here, so thank you very much. And Southern Marin. Okay, Southern Marin. Okay. Central Marin. Okay, Central Marin, excellent. And finally, North Marin. Excellent. So give yourselves a big round of applause. Thank you for representing today, your individual groups. One of the things that we do at the beginning of each of our partnership council, leadership council meetings, right? I'll get it right eventually, is that we have an equity check-in. And so our equity expert who's going to help us do the check-in is Dr. JuanCarlos Arauz, who is here. So let's give him a big round of applause. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
All right. Perfect. So, first things first, which is good morning. Buenos dias. Bom dia. Zao. Now turn to the partner and say how you say hello or good morning to each other. All right. Now do me another favor and do a 2 clap. 1, 2. There we go. There we go. We're going to use that later in a second here. So, right, equity check-in, number 1. How do we check in with each other the way we like to check in? And equity check-in would be how do we check in the way they want to check in, right? And so one of the things I always talk about is it's about what's missing, not what's wrong. If we think about that there's something wrong, that means something's got to be right. And whose right is it? Is it your right, my right, your right? There's 7 billion people right ways to do things. So let's do things like this, which is we all bring something together. So what we're going to do is this. I want you to turn to your partner, the person next to you, and think about this. Think about your diverse experiences, what you've been taught, and you're going to take a moment to just turn to your partner to find out, like, hey, this is how I was taught about diversity, right? So share that, but what I really want you to get to is I want to know from when you think there's a threat, do you tend to fight your amygdala? Does your amygdala say flight? Does your amygdala say freeze, or does your amygdala say appease? Right? So take a moment to turn to your partner. We'll give you a couple minutes here to share, hey, this is what I've been taught about diversity. This is what I know. And then my amygdala, when I think there's a threat, this is what my amygdala does. Everybody understand the question? All right, let's see what happens. Go. Switch if you haven't switched. All right, finish your last thought. And let's come back together. All right. So, curious to see what came up for folks on this in terms of your amygdala. If you got to that, raise your hand if you think when you see a threat that you're like, I'm a fighter. Raise your hand. Okay, look around because these are our frontline folks. When there's a threat, they're our frontline folks. Raise your hand if you were like, I don't know, when I see a threat, I flight, I'm out of here. One? Just one? Okay, so just make sure we don't run over her because she's going to be running out of the room right away. How about freeze when there's a threat? Okay, so here, this is when now what I say is also, unfortunately, our punching bag for us while we figure out what we're going to do in that threat. And the last one is appease. Great. So they are also our frontline folks. And so here's the reality around this. How do you know the difference between a perceived threat and a real threat? No, that was a question. Seeking more information? You don't until it happens, or previous experience. So when we think about diversity, what I want to just acknowledge in this work is we might have been taught one or two things about diversity, but the reality about diversity is that it's always been an experience that often is and creates discomfort, which then immediately preps our amygdala into a perceived threat. So in our equity check-in for our next space that we're going to do here, what I want to invite us to consider is that your amygdala is going to do what your amygdala is going to do, and that's okay. And this work that we're doing, congratulate ourselves for being in this room and still doing this. Because some people have been having this conversation for a very long time. Some people have been having this conversation recently. Some people are wondering what conversation we're talking about. And so it's really important to understand that as we stand here, 527 years, 9 months, 5 days, 9 hours and 14 minutes, not that I'm counting, this way of occupied land that we're on right now of coastal Miwok, of this diversity conversation. And when we talk about equity, it's about power. How are we going to undo that in the time that we've been here? We need all of our perspectives. So to do that, I'm going to invite us to do one last piece. There's a protocol that asks you to think about what's happening for you, how you're feeling about it, but what I want us to do now with our partner is step 3, which is our critical analysis, which says we bring our own diverse perspectives, whether it's race, class, education, sex, gender, you can read the rest. So I invite you to turn to your partner here as your equity check-in to say, hey, I'm excited about this convening. This is what I'm focused on, but here are the lenses that I bring. This is how I see the work. Because we're going to need all of these perspectives to be able to address the solutions for tomorrow that we're trying to do today. So go ahead and turn with your partner, and the question is, what perspectives do you bring? And what issues are you taking on in your community? And that will be our final equity check-in. So turn to your partner and see what you come up with. One more minute.